Okay. Whoa. Whoa. I'm setting up. I started recording too early. But oh, everything is falling on my desk. But welcome back. I think this is the first time I've made a deal on Crashout in a long time. But I keep getting this question recently from friends who have started dating. I got a lot of my friends in that phase where they start dating people. It's very strange. But I don't want to say some of my worst off friends, but sometimes you get into a certain situation where your ex is, well, still friends with their ex, or in the proximity of people that they previously had a crush on. Whatever the situation is, you as a man generally don't feel good when the competition is still around. And I'm somebody who advocates for competition. There's a sign showing that men perform better in bed when there is another male suitor around. And frankly, a lot of people wouldn't improve themselves if there wasn't other male competition. Like, they'd just be a chud and they'd be happy because somebody wanted them for who they were because there weren't that many other options available. So ultimately, this competition makes us better people. Whether or not we actually want to be better people, in order to attain our goals, we need to improve and become better people, which I think, generally speaking, is a fundamentally good thing. And you as a man feel threatened by another man. Completely understandable. Men threaten a lot of people. So, should you be threatened by the ex? And I could speak in a lot of anecdotes, but I'm generally going to say no. If you trust your partner, regardless of if they put themselves in situations where they get intoxicated and they're around potential suitors, if you think the other person is really attractive, hopefully your ex is not the type to cheat on you. They will just break you up and leave for somebody else, which still doesn't feel good, but at least you didn't get cheated on. At least you didn't end up with a partner that could leave you anytime and actually would choose somebody who is better than you given the opportunity, or would choose somebody who seems more desirable in the moment, because hopefully your partner thinks that you are the most desirable person in the world. And that's something which a lot of people like to test in different ways, and a lot of people, at least I hang around with mostly guys, so a lot of guys will say, oh, why is she doing this? Because you want to feel like the hottest girl or boy or them or something in the room, right? You want to feel like that you can actually build a foundation with someone, you can build a life with someone, and that comes with trusting them to choose you every single time. Because you are going to change a lot as an individual as you grow and as you develop. Things are going to change. Life is going to change. Circumstances are going to change. Times are going to get hard, and it's going to be easier to latch on to somebody who is already well established where things are easier, right? Like, that's very fundamental thing. And this is something that I kind of have touched on in like talking about my friends, but it kind of sucks when you are not in a great spot right now and people don't want to build something with you, right? People aren't ambitious. They just want to attach onto something which is already working. And this has come from me coming from small communities. This has come from me being somebody who enjoys making something and just having a bunch of people work on it. But you need to find your person who's going to invest in you now. And maybe you need to get to a certain baseline, a little certain threshold. There's this idea that you as a man need to get to a certain point of attractiveness before your personality starts mattering to women, which is fair. I'm like, if I see someone who looks objectively unhealthy, say what you will about judging people by their appearances, because I don't know what they're going through, what condition they have, but those conditions are pretty rare, right? Mental health is a very common issue, but like the physical conditions that make you physically unwell are pretty rare. And I kind of like to judge people by how they physically take care of their bodies, because I think it's also a good indicator of their mental health, right? You can spur your mental health by training your physical body. So this is kind of getting off track, but in context of people, right, of the ex, like, you need to improve yourself to get up to the standard of this person liking you, which means there is some wiggle room to say, like, this person didn't just choose you for you. They chose you for the improved version of you. And if you want to call that you, which it most definitely is because you earned it, you need to maintain that status quo, that baseline for those people. It's not like, I don't know why people feel this way about like jobs, and well, I guess it is kind of fair for college because the criteria to stay in college is way easier, arguably, than the criterion to be in college, in my opinion. Sorry, than to get into college, in my opinion. Just speaking from personal experience, I know it's like a little bit different for some people who like they had a pretty easy time being perfect in high school, and then it was a lot harder in college for them. relative to their coursework, but I don't know, it translated pretty well. But bottom line is, you need to continue to, be the person that you promised and honestly improve for the better and compromise and test the waters and see if y'all are compatible for each other. Like, you can't be in this performance forever, So, this is just a long way of saying that you as an individual need to keep improving as an individual, right? You need to deliver on your promises. Great quality to have as a man, to be a stand-up individual who delivers on what they say they're going to deliver on. Which also means that once you develop as an individual, you need to continue developing as an individual, even in a relationship. And yes, it kind of is a competition. People love to pretend that they're not transactional. We are. And unconditional love exists when you already have a great history of being somebody who shows up and who delivers, and with somebody where you have this established trust. And this isn't something that people just magically get off the bat. This is why people get to know each other and build lives together. And that it's, even though people want to tell themselves it's permanent and the love is forever, that love gets tested every single day, so to speak. So, what does that have to do with being friends with your ex? Well, it depends on if you trust your partner or not. Some people want to be friends with their ex because they don't want to leave their options open. Other people just happen to be friends with their ex because they're already within that friend group and you're already implicated in the friend group. Of all people, trust me, I would know what it's like to be in a friend group with people and you don't like everybody in the friend group, but the friend group stays together. And I don't think it's a fundamentally bad thing. A lot of people will be like, oh, if you're so friends with your ex, that's a red flag. Or if you're in a similar friend group with your ex, it's a red flag. Or if you're not in no contact with your ex, that's a red flag. I think holding people to the point where you're always burning the bridges, which is very ironic coming from me, is not necessarily a good trait. You don't know when people are going to become valuable to you in a very transactional, fake way. You'd also, if you care for somebody so deeply, I understand that there are times where the best thing that you can do for you and yourself and your healing is to let go, but that's not the case for everyone. Some people truly do end things on good terms, and some people reach the end of their relationship and they're like, you know what? This person is not giving me the things they needed in the relationship, but they still are a really good friend, and they still value them as a friend. And I personally haven't experienced that, but I am still friends with my ex for a completely different reason, and that is she still likes me, and I'm single, which is very different. So the people listening to this and they know my situation and they're like, this is a big cop out to be friends with your ex. No. Frankly, with my particular relationship with my ex, when I'm pursuing someone, you should cut her off, which I have historically, and she doesn't like it at all. But me aside, answering the actual question, when should you be worried about the ex? Well, when they're making moves on your partner, right? Like, and if it's constant. If the person's like, oh, I still like you, and they tried once and they gave up, and they somehow managed to still be friends on some ghost shit, and they're always gonna have these unrequited feelings, but they learn to suck it up. Like, you really just can't control what's going on in their head. I think I was talking about it today, actually, where, let's say that you're friends with their ex, and then you're in that spot where, like, okay, I trust my partner. Of course, they would never cheat on me, but I don't trust their ex. And there's a little bit of nuance here, but generally speaking, if you trust your partner, trust your partner. I mean, you could never control the ex. You can't control if some random person develops feelings for your partner. You can't control if that person confesses to them, even though they know that they're in a relationship. Like, they don't have to respect the boundary. And you also can't control, who they are as a person. Like, you can control their friend group or who they hang out with. I'm like, this is when you start getting into the territory where I'm like, it's a little strange. Like, you should be able to trust your partner. And then there's another context to this. This is something that I personally couldn't live with, so surprised I came to this conclusion. But where you find your partner keep putting themselves into scenarios to, let's say, find a potential partner, like, if they're still on the dating apps, then I would start raising the red flag of, hey, why are you still shopping around when you're already in the relationship? Because that demonstrates a lack of commitment, right? It's not a good feeling to feel like your relationship is always on the waters. Like, it is. Your relationship will be tested, but you need to have some trust in the relationship that y'all are here for choosing each other and that you're not just the best option around. You're the best for now. You're hoping that you're going to be the best option forever. right? It's a compatibility thing. It's like, of course, there's going to be people that are going to be better than you at certain aspects of certain things. There might even be somebody who is better than you at all things, but does somebody have the best connection with your partner? Does this person have the best potential connection with your partner that you want? I'm like, it's a complicated thing. It's hard to put a lot of trust. A lot of people feel the need to settle down and to just like, oh, look, eventually I'll just find somebody who's good enough and then I'll take it. I mean, sure, we're always playing a game of good enough, but you and your partner, by this idea of love that we have for each other, like, you should feel like that person is choosing you for you over all other people. I'm like, I've met a lot of people and I think this person is the best fit for me and I don't want to invest or look into any other routes, you know? And that's the hope that you should have for your partner. And if that's not there, like, it might be early on in the relationship, sure, but if you don't have that trust in your partner that they're not here to trying to explore you as an option, right? And hopefully they're doing this thing one at a time. Like, people who search for like a better option while already in the relationship, already, like me personally, like a little scummy, but like if they break it off when they decide to actually jump the gun, I'm like, that's chill. You know, they want that little safety net and they want to make sure that they still have a relationship while they're shopping for the next one. I'm like, nah, a little scummy. You know, I would reconsider whether I want that to be like my relationship if I always want to prove myself. But maybe that's for you. You know, maybe you want the competition. Maybe you want that smoke. Maybe you want somebody who you always want to feel their acceptance, not just because they like you, but you feel validated by being better than other people in their eyes. I'm like, maybe that's for you. And that would still give you reasons to like not, I mean, if anything, you're seeing the ex as like competition. You're like making sure that you're better than the ex. Which some people it comes across as insecure, other people like that. I'm like, it's subjective. It's up to the individuals. But that's another thing of like trusting your ex. Like, do you trust their decision making, or like do you want to make sure that they can't mess up the decision? At the end of the day, you can't really control them either. I mean, the big friends with the ex thing, like, it's an insecurity thing, right? Where you don't trust your partner to stay with you, or you see it as competition and you see yourself as potentially worse than the ex. You see the ex as a threat for whatever reason, or you're wondering if there's still lingering feelings, or they chose them before, maybe they're going to choose them again. All completely fair things, fair statements, fair ideas that you're going to have. But at the end of the day, that comes down to trust. I'm like, they chose you. You know, they might not continue choosing you, and that's what a breakup is. You know, that's just going to happen. Of course, you don't want to be broken up with. You want to stack the odds in your favor, but at least to me, you look at this and I'm like, well, if they don't choose you and they don't continue to choose you, then I'm like, that sucks. That's a loss, but you know, it's for the better. It's for the best that you don't end up with somebody who is not going to choose you every single time. Somebody who doesn't, they don't treat you like you're expendable. I'm like, oh, my ex is here, I like them again. Bye. Like, you don't want that to happen in like a lifelong thing in a marriage. Like, you don't want to continue to invest in somebody who's not going to invest in you. So I'm not saying test the waters with the ex, but I'm like, if you can't trust your partner to like not choose you, I'm like, I don't know if that's the relationship that you want. And the same thing with the partying. I'm like, maybe they're partying for a reason. Maybe they're putting themselves in circumstances to meet other people for a reason. But if you trust them, like, maybe they just like that life. They just enjoy the vibes, the energy that people bring. And you know what? They clearly pulled you, so maybe they're attractive. And other people are flirting with them. Like, you can't control that. Maybe that person is even entertaining them a little bit, like letting them talk to her. But is she going to leave you for these people? Not is she. That's bad. Uh-oh. Male perspective only. Only women cheat. That's not good. But is that person going to leave you for that other person? Like, are they? Like, do you really believe that? Like, they're just going to find someone and, like, fall in love with them, and then they're just going to leave you for that person? I'm like, well, good riddance. You know? And if not, I'm like, then just trust your partner. Like, at least, how else you slice it is, like, they leave you, and they weren't, like, meant for you. They weren't going to choose you. So that's a win in the long run for you. Or they choose you. And you should have trusted your partner and not jeopardized your relationship by being insecure. And like, that's also a win for you. So all I'm saying is, like, I don't know if that, I might be called a cuck from this video, but me personally, I'm like, I wouldn't do anything. Now, let's get into some anecdotes. I broke up with an ex of mine because they went to an orgy, allegedly. You know, I don't know if it was an orgy or just a bunch of like girls kissing dudes. There was something weird going on, but I got sent a video of it and I was very estranged. Like, isn't this your girl?" Watching other girls like kissing dudes. I'm like, yeah, yeah. I'm glad I didn't see the video of the alleged orgy. That would have made me really uncomfortable. But apparently she didn't participate. I'm like, ah, great. But I didn't like that she was putting herself in those scenarios. Also didn't like that she would repeatedly drive under the influence and put a lot of money into going to these parties, because she clearly like wasn't happy with the experience that I was providing her, me as a man. And I was a little too boring for her. And I just like had that realization, and that had nothing to do with the fact that she was in a friend group with her ex, who also was like objectively better than me at like academics and more aligned with her field that she had a huge crush on. And it wasn't an actual ex, it was just a guy that you had a crush on. She was still in that friend group. And of course that made me feel like insecure in that moment. But I like eventually I just like learned to deal with it. And then the fact that like she was going out to the parties and meeting people and meeting and surrounding herself with certain types of people. I'm like, if I don't like her friends and I'm starting to not like her, that was the sign for me to break up. And I do a bad thing when I say break up with people, where I just like slowly just start hating on them until they break up with me. But that's besides the point. Still learning and growing as an individual. Be careful who you take advice from. But at least within context of this, I'm like, I didn't have a huge problem with the parties. I'm like, you said, okay, is this crazy to say that if you are the type of person who like doesn't like red dye in your food and you're gonna go start smoking, then I'm like, okay, like clearly the red dye is like not as big of an issue. But the partying itself is not the problem. Being friends with the ex of itself wasn't the problem. I had a problem with the person. I didn't like the person that happens to surround themselves with their ex and honestly some unsavory friends and is partying in a way that like messes with their health and their like academics, which was, they were a community college person, so like they were still trying to lock in for their academics to get into the 4 year, and they always told me, I'm like, oh, you're in a 4 year, you don't get it. So like this was different life context for them, which informed their decisions, and they still, in my opinion, made bad ones to have fun, which is fine for almost literally all college students. I just didn't like how it was hypocritical because of the time I met them to the switch up. You know, I thought we had the same goals in life, and that's the reason to change. So when you find out that they're the type of person that is friends with their ex, and you've met them previously, and there's somebody who continues to have feelings or longs for people and yearning, and you don't like that, well, you don't like that, and that's up to you to decide if like that's too much for you or not. Me personally, if they have a history of leaving people for their ex, and I'm not the competitive type that says like, okay, we ego, I'm going to be different, I would give that up. You know, because that's just something that maybe I don't want weighing on me, even if it shouldn't, in my life. And there's other people that might say, you know, we ball. And that's your decision to make, you know? And I trusted my partner to go to these parties and not cheat on me. And to my knowledge, I've never been cheated on. So, like, that's fine. You know? Now, if you're dating me and I'm still friends with my ex, and it's the one that I've been talking about that I know likes me and that I've entertained before, I would be worried. I would, if I was in a relationship with you and I was still talking to my ex that I know was interested in me and that I've gone on dates with her before between relationships, like I would be worried because I've demonstrated my character that I'm willing to entertain this window, you know? But to the people that are friends with their ex and have shown known signs of like getting back with them, and they're the person who's never gotten back with their ex, I wouldn't be worried. Right? History repeats itself. Or there's no history. Like, I wouldn't be worried. To my friends that the girl goes to the parties and you feel like she's putting herself in those situations where she can be taken advantage of, you should be worried about the people trying to take advantage of her. You shouldn't be worried about her. And if you're saying that, like, oh, she should be stronger, I'm like, there's always, like, power dynamics, you know? Like, hopefully she's surrounding herself with people that prevent her from getting taken advantage of. That was not the situation that I was in. So I felt a little bit uncomfortable, you know? She's like, oh, I'll be with my girls. And all the girls, like, find a guy that night. And it's just her hanging out with a bunch of dudes at a party. I'm like, now I don't feel as good about it, you know? And she didn't cheat on me. So it was chill. But, yeah, not a great excuse. And She had no history of cheating. I had no like reason to suspect her of cheating. Yes, I did feel insecure about her ex because it wasn't really an ex. It was just someone that like she had a crush on and that like she kept around, and then she would like go out on like little dates with him. I'm like, yeah, that's a little weird. That made me uncomfortable. And that's like my personal limit. I'm not saying that it has to be your limit. But what I am ultimately saying is I'm like, you need to judge people by their past. I feel pretty firm on that I'm like, that's a really good indicator of whether or not you should trust or if you should be suspicious of somebody is if they give you reasons to be suspicious of them. And ultimately, they are an ex for a reason. If they're the type to go back to their ex, that's honestly a win for you. And if they're the partying type and you don't like that and you don't like what they're doing to their body, or most importantly, you don't trust them in the circumstances they're putting up, then you don't trust them in the circumstances they're putting under. And that's not a compromise they're willing to make. That's not a compromise they're willing to make. Leave. Leave. So, I don't know. This seemed pretty self-explanatory to me, but I kept getting this question. Like, I get asked for advice. I'm like, I don't feel good about this. I don't feel good about these situations that people are putting themselves in, So, how should I approach it? Like, should I confront this ex? Should I, like, get really mad? And should I talk to her about it? Should I express these feelings? I'm like, do you feel a need to act on these feelings? Are you the type of person that feels this pressure? That feels like they need to talk about this? Do you care if you come across as potentially insecure? Do you trust your partner? If you trust your partner, I'm like, I don't see the issue. If you like your partner and the things that they do and they just happen to be friends with their ex and the ex, like, they do whatever they want, but you trust that your partner is going to choose you, I'm like, well, then you trust that your partner is going to choose you. Like, people are going to have a crush on your partner, maybe. You have a crush on them. Maybe somebody else will, and like that's how it is. So, not my typically usual structured crash out, but all in all, if you have a reason to suspect your to suspect your girlfriend, boyfriend, etc., of cheating on you, that's something you need to ask yourself, like, oh, am I choosing the right person? Is this something that I need to act on? Or am I being insecure? And maybe you're being insecure for a good reason. And also, what are the potential outcomes? Am I okay with this being my person? Am I okay with my relationship being tested? Or do I want to feel confident in my relationship? Is your partner putting themselves in circumstances where you feel comfortable? And then, with that being uncomfortable, I'm like, is this a compromise that I'm willing to make? And it ultimately comes down to trust. If you trust your partner, all good. If you don't trust your partner, you need to reflect on your actions and why you are choosing them. And if you don't trust the people around your partner, you should also reflect on that, because your partner chooses them too. So, yeah. But that's about it. Come to your own conclusions. Be your own person. You have to decide what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. And ultimately, like that's all it is. I don't feel like that's that crazy. Didn't really need to take 23 minutes to explain that. But that's about it. Just gonna cut this part short. Okay. Bye.